Welcome back to round 8 of the Mountain State Hare Scramble. We've got a crazy one for you today. Yesterday, it was a beautiful day for a lot of the racing. They had the youth, the bike, the Stacy, and yes, even a Barbie Jeep downhill race. Make sure you check out the bike race for that information. At the end of the middle of the night, the thunderstorms came in and it started raining and raining and raining. It's going to be tough to get to the finish line today here at the Good Evening Ranch in Canvas, West Virginia. My friends and family and Heidi came down to watch me race in the mud. We did get some of the youth race. I'm going to throw that in at the end of my lap video. Make sure you stay to the end of the video to check that out. But now it's time to get on the old LTR 450. Cross my fingers that I make it to the finish line on this muddy day. I love racing in the mud, but it definitely throws a little curve to your strategy. Go out here and do something stupid and get stuck or break your quad. The main idea, especially here at the Good Evening Ranch, is a very rocky property. We're going to have to keep our hands clean, our goggles clean, and hopefully the lens of the camera. I'm surprised that I did actually get a full first lap, not much more than that. Then we'll run right into the youth four-wheelers. Got roosted right off the bat. The old LTR hasn't been starting pretty good. I got off my butt and actually got down here and got a decent spot on the starting line. Let's see what we can do. Good luck, boys. Holy cow, somehow I got a decent start. I bet you're never going to guess what the main problem is going to be today. Yes, it's being able to see. And racing a four-wheeler, that is important. I do pull off a tear off here for you, but that is going to be the main problem I have the entire day. Well, until something happens to the old quad. We'll get into that later, but right now the main goal is to try to keep my camera lens clean, which that was easier than keeping my goggles clean. That first turn to the second turn, it pretty well jacked up my goggles. I was trying to get them clean. The roll off was working just fine, but me trying to clean the bottom of the goggles off ended up jacking up even underneath my roll offs. I'll hold on to them as long as possible. I am an old man with contacts, so I try to keep the goggles on as long as I possibly can. I do pull you another tear off here soon. It's surprising how much I actually did get of this race. It was so wet. Get you cleared off there a little bit. But I'm also at the same time trying to get my goggles figured out. Eventually I have to ditch the goggles, which probably most people did as well. But the problem is, on a muddy day like this, especially when you can't get your goggles to work, is you really can't get too close to the guy ahead of you. And I do believe Chad Judy is right behind me, and I'm sure all of us are having to deal with the same problem. But you really can't get too close to the rider ahead of you. Here he goes to the left. I take a risky move over here. It pays off. I use that line every time. I'm not sure why other people didn't. Maybe too slow not to splash this guy. But every time I came to that place, the guy in front of me would go to the left. The right line is obviously easier and quicker, but if you slid down into the red, I guess you'd be in trouble. But I did get around. I believe that was Jason Lent in my class. I did get around him. We'll see him again later. Unfortunately for me, it's while I'm sitting along the side of the track. Well, actually, no, I don't know if I get him on camera, but anyways, I do get you a full first lap before the old LTR 430 has issues. Right now I got clean vision. Well, at least as clean as I can get with the problems I'm having with my goggles. There's a lot of open trail for the first mile or two. And not really knowing what is coming up as far as like water breaks, rocks, turns. You can see pretty well, but this first lap I just want to be cautious. And as you can see, hitting these water holes is definitely not ideal. Mr. Judy's probably behind me, hating life. But whenever you're on a sloppy trail like this, you don't want to let people around no more than you have to. So I'm just gonna go as fast as I can without getting my face full of mud. Make sure you check out the bike race. I was out here yesterday, the day before this race on Saturday. The Mountain State Hare Scramble was a 2-day event. On day 1, which was Saturday, they had the youth race. I'm hoping to get that video out next week. I got enough video to make them their own video. I did already get the adult race out. And I went ahead and threw some of the Barbie Jeep downhill race. That was pretty interesting. Make sure you check that video out. As you can see, it's a little juicy out here today. And I could go a good bit faster if it just wasn't for that. Everybody's dealing with the same problem. But being able to see, up there goes the goggles. I finally got rid of the goggles, wiped the camera off, and now I can actually see halfway decent. But still, I gotta adjust my speed down a little bit just because I've got contacts. I can't be splashing a bunch of water up in my eyes. Also, I gotta keep the camera clean for you guys, so you can see what round 8 here at the Mountain State Hare Scramble was all about. Starting to catch some people from the line ahead of us. And of course, the bad thing about catching somebody ahead of you is that you can't get too close to them because they just really messed up your vision. So you just kind of gotta hover back a little bit and hope that you find a spot where you can get around them. On a dry day, you'd be up here close to him. If he would make a mistake, which like that gentleman almost did. If he would make a mistake, you would take advantage of it and get around. Of course, you can yell and rev your engine, let them know you're back there. I'm probably more apt to do something like that today, on a day like today, just because of having to deal with all this mud. With a quad, you never know what's going to go wrong. You hit a water hole. Thankfully, that guy let us around. I'm sure Chad Judy is right on my tail. But you hit a water hole with a quad, it can flood things out, mess some wires up. So you definitely want to be cautious, not come jamming down through a mud hole. Not only flood yourself, but flood your quad out. Day like today, you're going to see a lot of quads sitting along the track. Unfortunately, you'll see mine pretty soon. Hopefully it's not a spoiler alert, but I did finish the race. But on the second lap, she started missing. I pulled over. And basically what it was, Tiffany's, my daughter's boyfriend, jinxed me. He was at the house looking at my quad, and my ground cable going to the battery had some, sheesh. I'm trying to keep the camera all clean for you, but had some of the rubber peeled off right at the terminal to the battery. He said, man, that looks sketchy. And I'm like, ah, it's been like that for years. It's fine. Well, unfortunately, this race, the very next race after he said that, the cable broke off of my battery. It starts missing, and once it's stalled, I couldn't get it to start. An LTR battery is in a little case. You can't get to it without tools. Eventually, as I was messing around with the cables, I figured out that there was something in that battery box. I finally just yanked on it, was able to get it open enough to peel the cable back, the rubber back and stuff up in there to get it to the pits. Went in, made a quick repair, came back out, got back on the track where I went off, finished my second lap, and then went out and busted out my third lap as quick as I could. This got pretty deep throughout the day. There's a couple pretty challenging uphills. This was one of them. It wasn't too bad on a quad. But it was crazy the last lap coming around how many quads was setting along the track. There was like gaggles. I don't know if you would call a group of foilers a gaggle. I think that's something you would call a bird. But there was gaggles of foilers setting everywhere. Right there I was able to look back and see Mr. Judy. He's probably hating life because of me. But I think I was just trying to keep him safe. It wasn't that I was trying to keep my vision clear, my quad together on these rocky road sections. I think if I was seeing what I thought I was seeing, I actually think I seen a course marshal out here on a dirt bike with his chain off on the side of the trail. So it wasn't only tough for us quads, it was tough for the course marshals, and of course all the quad guys having to drag us out. Thankfully I didn't have to get drug out. Now coming through here, that was really, that felt sketchy coming across the bottom of that fence row. As we see more foilers setting along the trail. But it was really slimy. I thought I had a flat tire there for a second coming across. Now we're coming back across the top of the fence. This is where the Barbie Jeep downhill race was the day before, which was Dusty. Well, she's not Dusty today. This is the section that the bike did not have to run yesterday, the day before. We're coming top of the hill here. This is actually the top of the hill where the Barbie downhill challenge was. They didn't have to run none of this field section. There was the uphill before this that they didn't have to run. And then we're going to be coming into a little rocky section that the bikes didn't have to run. The LTR is handling the rocks and the trail pretty well. running actually the best it's ever ran. It's feeling the best it's ever felt. I still got some improvement I need to do on the rear shock. I did do a few clickers and went out to my friend Jared Little's house and tried it around his trail. Unfortunately, my trail is getting timbered, so I'm not really in the position of being able to go out and test this thing out. I've only really got one more race probably this year, getting my leg fixed on September the 16th, so I'll be down a little bit. Like that hole right there, actually this is where the bikes came back. This is the section the bikes was able to run also. You can come blasting through those water holes a lot faster than I'm doing it, and I'm sure there's people that does it, but I just can't risk my vision like washing my contacts out of my eyeballs. At the end of the day, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I was picking dirt out of my eyelashes, out of my eyelashes for 2 days. A little tight section Richie threw in. It's pretty rocky, but the dirt was kind of sandy soil. Traction was not a problem, other than just a few spots here and there where the clay, like over by that field around the bottom of the fence area. Coming through a section like this, there was a lot of tree branches down, and I had to slow down for them right there from smacking me in the face. Last thing I needed is a big old muddy leaf flying right into my face. I actually have done that before. I had to take my goggles off, racing, and a tree branch hit me in the eye and actually knocked my contacts out of my eye, and I didn't even realize it did it. I just felt like I was getting dizzy and didn't even realize that I was missing a contact until at the end of the race. Coming into a little moto section, this was a little slick, where it's just the clay. There's a little hot line through the middle there. I seen that too late. I'm not much for jumping on this quad. I haven't really had the opportunity to practice jumping much with the quad. So I'll keep my wheels on the ground as much as possible. I was surprised old Chad Judy didn't come on the inside of me there somewhere. I didn't realize, but I think I was actually leading the race at this point. When I went through the checkpoint the first time, Chad Judy came on the inside of me. I didn't fight him too hard. He went through first. I swore it told me that I was third, but when I looked at the results, I was second. I think he was at 2018 or 2015 or something, and I was at 2020 on my first lap. I would say somewhere between 15th and 10th overall. I'm just guessing. This is the section I was thinking about with all the low hanging tree branches. And that gentleman pulled over a little bit and let me get around. As I'm weaving, bobbing, jigging, jagging tree branches, trying not to get smacked in the face. Hopefully I'll pull you a tear off here soon. Pretty much leaving all this in. I was actually very surprised that I got as much of the lap as I did, with as wet and juicy as it is. It's a pretty fun track. It's a little fast, but the way the property is laid out, it would be tough to be on the side of this mountain, because you're basically on the side of the mountain. You could come here and lay out a track, but it would definitely take some time. But it's definitely different than, you know, you don't want the same old, same old. Some stuff's tight. This is a faster. The rocks and the mud definitely made it challenging. Not really so much as far as making it around the course, but making it to the finish. That was the tough part, because quads, rocks, mud, they don't like each other. Hey. It's always good to have somebody rooting this old man on. I definitely enjoyed Saturday talking to y'all. Today we had a few guys coming up and talking to us about the last race. Heidi had a thing with her daughter yesterday. She wasn't able to make it, but she's up here pit side, right there on the left. Didn't really see her too good there, but she had the goggles, the gas can, the rags. Wasn't a lot of pit side or track side pitting. This is really about the only spot. Coming back down, this is a rough little downhill. I believe I dug my front skid plate a few times coming down through here. If this is the first video you watch of Trail Seeker Adventures, make sure you like and subscribe. We bring the camera out. We try to find you a race series, a ride park, a mountain bike trail, something that you might be interested to take your friends and family out. We had a little incident here. Not sure. I don't know. But I guess he's tired. Or couldn't move out. I'm not sure what. But anyways, we get you out here on the track so you can see what it takes to get around a race series. This is the Mountain State Hare Scramble. It's a 2-day event. Bikes on Saturday, quads on Sunday, at least this year. We've been to snowshoe downhill mountain biking. We've been out to Idaho racing or riding on the trails out there out west. We bring the camera, that way you can see what the trail's like before you even get off the couch and load your bike. Make sure you like and subscribe. Love talking to all of you at the track. Make sure you keep coming up and letting me know that you are enjoying the videos. That is the only reason I'm doing these videos, to help you all find something to get out on the trail. We're coming in close to the finish. We got a little spot here on the moto track. It's a little slimy. Chad Judy's behind me. He says if I'm going to get around him, I slowed down a little bit here to wipe the camera off. Went a little wide. He took full advantage, which I 100% don't blame him. We come in. He gets a little roost on me. Says, here, I'll give you a little payback. And we go out for lap 2. Unfortunately for me, he was able to get around another rider before we went back into the woods. I did not get around him. I had to follow him I don't know, probably for about a mile until I got the opportunity to get around him. But it really didn't matter. This is some of the section I threw this in because it was covered with mud. The first time I came through right off the start. Here's where he went left, I went right. I was able to get around him. I thought, alright, let's try to run Mr. Judy down. And unfortunately, things don't go the way I expected. Just missing pretty good. I'm not thinking. I was sitting on the line and the gas vent tube came off on the line. I'm like, oh, is this thing plugged up? Do I got water down in there? That's what I was first thinking. Mr. John gets around me. Mr. John Leeson, he's having an awesome race. But the last race, I had a flat tire. I come home. I thought that's the only problem I had. I washed the quad up, started it right up, rode it right up into the garage, and the next day, or next week, it would not start. Here they had a broken wire in the wiring harness. I made the repair. I was thinking, okay, is it a broken wire again? It won't do nothing once it's shut off. It wouldn't start, wouldn't even turn over.
Oh well.
I thought my day was done.
I say it's that fuse.
Eventually I do find out that it is the ground battery cable. The wire broke off at the terminal. I could jiggle it, start the thing up, and as soon as I let off the cable, because I can't ride it, it would shut off. But I was able to get it tore apart enough to get it jammed in there, went back to my pits, made a quick repair, came back out. I know I'm going to be pretty much last, but I paid for a full day of racing. I'm not going to be sitting in the pits. If I get this thing back out on the trail, I'm going to do it. Hopefully I'm not back out here sitting on the side of the trail. That is what I do not want. When I was sitting at the side of the trail, course marshal came around. He says within 3 miles I was number 7. There were 7 quads stuck or broke. Here right off the bat, I came into a bottleneck, had to jump a tree to get around them. But from here on out, I basically just put a little bit of video of some people sitting along the track. Be honest with you, after this I really didn't clean the camera off too much, so I really didn't get much. I think I finished 9th. Oh, here I thought Jared Little. I looked to the left and I'm like, oh, there's Jared. That's my daughter Tiff's boyfriend. I'm like, I gotta rip. I gotta go as fast as I can. I don't want him to catch me, and if he does, well, I come all the way through. That was probably like a mile 4. I come back to the start. I've been running my guts out. Not that it matters because I'm over an hour on this lap. I look back, I see what I think is Jared. I don't want to hold him up. He's in the middle of a race, so I'll pull over here to let Jared Little go. Well, it's not Jared Little. I don't know who he is. But anyways, I'll go down here. Last lap. I think my last lap I ran a 25 something. I had a couple bottlenecks. But it was funny, all the quads right here. It's a family reunion. I took a little snapshot. This is what it looks like when you're standing along the track. But now I got some of the youth. I hope you enjoy it. I'm gonna let you watch the rest of these youth. They're nice and clean right now, but they're getting ready to go out and be the first ones on the track. Love watching these little guys and girls hit the trail. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Oh,
This way, this way. You got the headlights on.
Yeah, he got the headlights on. He goes.
You hit her, you got her.
Go.
Go. You
Huh?
can make it.
Go, you're good. Go ahead, go, you gotta go.
Liam.
Liam, up
That way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go, buddy. Come on, baby. Come on. You're good. Good job. You're good. Go ahead. This way.
This way. You got it, you can do it. Yeah, baby. Good job. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can subscribe by pushing the logo in the middle of the page. Thanks for watching.